Alrighty. Hi, everyone. Let me double check that we are appearing correctly. You'll see I have Katie here with me. I'm so excited about this event today. I have never had a special guest as part of our weekly marketing trainings, and Katie and I have sort of formed a relationship over the last little bit. She is the exact type of person you want to be talking to if you're interested in especially being private pay, but really just reaching people that you want to work with and filling your caseload with them. So really happy that you're here. If this is your first time joining a marketing training at all, and you're like, hi, who are you? I'm Anna. I am a marketing and web strategist for therapists, and I help you get booked out with clients you love and who love you. And one of the favorite things I get to do as part of that are these weekly marketing trainings. And this week we have a special guest who's Katie. So Katie and I are just going to be chatting about what it means to be a private pay practitioner, what has worked for her. And I really encourage you to ask questions of Katie. You are getting her dedicated time here, so let's make use of it. If you're catching the replay, maybe you weren't able to be here right at the start, totally fine. Put a hashtag replay in the comments. And if you have Katie questions for Katie, she and I will both monitor the comments and make sure that you can get answers to your questions. So with that, Katie, thanks for being here. Would you just go ahead and introduce yourself, your practice, and kind of what you do?
Sure. Anna Walker, I am so excited to be here and be able to support your community. And I love being a member of your Facebook group. And I just feel like your information is so spot on and really resourceful and really aligns a lot with what I'm doing and things I'd like to add to my practice. So
yeah, thank you.
I just love the community you've built.
It really is special. This is a special place on Facebook. I'm in a lot of other kind of communities, and nothing's quite like this. So
yes, it's so positive, and the encouragement. Now everyone kind of helps each other out and posts. Yeah. And it really kind of is that cheerleader we all need. It's so
perfect.
Nice.
Well, that's exactly what I aim to be. So thank you.
Yeah, so I'm so happy to share. So I run a group practice in Connecticut along the shoreline, and I'm also licensed for telehealth in Florida. And so I have 3 therapists on my team, and everyone works other places as well. So we're part-time or part-time just with me. And so I've kind of had a journey of growing and resizing and people leaving and me bringing new people on. And I would love to share also some of how I've grown for the past 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I would say my caseload is probably 95% private pay. And for me, that's something I'm really proud of because it wasn't always that way.
Absolutely.
At one time, I would have 10 insurance clients in a day. And I quickly learned it was not sustainable. And I really learned to value myself and love myself in this process of going cash-based and going private pay. So I hope that in this journey we can help you. And I also think too, it's all about, for me, knowing the uniqueness and that being different is very positive. So for me, there was this piece of yoga and holistic counseling and art and painting and outdoor walking sessions that I wanted to bring into my clinical work that the agency was not allowing me to do. And so that's really also what inspired me to go into private practice, and I get to do those things every day. So
yeah. So tell us a little bit sort of about your journey. You referenced an agency, you were private practice, you've now become a group practice. Kind of tell us about how you got here, what your journey has been through niching and ultimately landing on this really clear, fully booked practice that you currently have.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, out of grad school, I wasn't hired by my internship. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Trained to work with kids, families, couples, generations. And my first job was in substance abuse, which was, very educational and very interesting. But I wasn't working with children, and I was working with 18 to 70-year-olds. And I really wanted to teach them how to meditate rather than teaching them about what a drug does to their brain. Like, they've already experienced that. Like, they know, but that's not a skill. That's just, I really wanted to give them a positive experience that they could remember their, value and believe in themselves. So anyway, I was first in outpatient. The agency was like, she's not going to do well here because I was they saw me as against the grain. I was like, No, they kind of saw me as someone that, why does she want to do laughter yoga? Like, why is there laughter coming from this group room? I'm like, because it's good for them. Like, healing,
Yeah, you had a special something that
Yes.
set you
So
apart.
it was a little bit different. And so then they moved me to the rehab. So the 90-day rehab, and I had a bunch of men on my caseload for intensive outpatient, which is about 3 to 4 hours a day. And they're very angry. They don't want to talk. They've gone through grief since they're a child, serious trauma. Like let's just see what we don't need to dig into that just yet. Like they're newly sober, so, and they just are very angry. And so I started organizing animal therapy groups. So I drove this like 16-person van and like put them all in it and like drove to these farms. And it was so funny, the universe, like we were there one day and a baby cow was being born right in front of us. And like, and then I quit like 2 weeks after that because the agency was like, you can't do animal therapy. I was like, okay, like I don't think I'm meant to be here. And
is that when you jumped into private practice?
well, yeah, I quit, and it was tough. Like I was bootstrapping it. I mean, I had my boyfriend who was very supportive, but I went to the food pantry, once a week because I was teaching yoga and making like $200 a week at that point. Like I quit. I was like, I can't ethically sleep at night. Like I became depressed. I became tearful, very sad, like very conflicted, like angry at the management. So I got to a point where I was like, it's not working for me. And I quit in February of 2018.
Okay.
And the universe provides. So all these yoga studio owners were like, Katie, you have more free time. Like, come teach for me. I was like, awesome. So it worked out. And I was also, the agency did not provide supervision.
Okay.
So that was ethically also something they really shouldn't have hired an unlicensed therapist, but whatever. So I paid for supervision privately. I paid about $5,000 to become licensed because I paid LMFTs. I had 3 different supervisors. And so anyway, I got probably my first client at $50 cash, like maybe 3 months later. So I was building my website, listening to podcasts, and then I'm hearing all these things about rates, like you have to raise your rate. And I quickly learned that, yes, people paying $50 don't value therapy. It's like it's like a family trip to Starbucks. Like it's really not valuable, right? So then I went up to $80. And I had some families that even just right then I started to realize how to do an intake call, how to talk, how to, my intake calls were really long at first. I was doing like a free session, like 45-minute intake calls.
Yeah.
So I had to learn a lot the hard way, but I started to realize, now my rate is $200 a session.
Wow.
Couples, and I'm really specialized, and I do have some people less than that, but that's what new clients come on as, and I'm really confident that I can bring something so different than what they've ever had, that they feel it too, and I feel
absolutely
for that.
So that was February 2018. Here we are, July 2020. You're fully booked. Your fee is $200 an hour. What would you say has been most important when it comes to marketing or even just mindset and how you approach your practice when it comes to finding clients that are willing to pay that? Because I was just on a conversation with a client earlier today who wants to attract more private pay and is scared about turning some people away and attracting others. Kind of talk us through what's been really important for you on that.
That is a great question, Anna, because I've kind of developed the group to manage that. So we are on one insurance panel, and I have one therapist who's fully licensed, and she takes one insurance panel, and the rest is private pay or out of network. So we do provide super bills. Do not submit any insurance claims. And I talk about that later on in the phone call. So you have to time that appropriately. Yeah. Everyone wants to tell you what insurance they have and do you take it and how much is it going to be. You have to conduct that intake call just like you're going to conduct a session, because the client is, 1, in chaos, 2, has no idea what therapy is because they either had horrible therapy or didn't get good care, or you're going to teach them how to live themselves. So you have to take it right from the start. So, navigating that would be saying, I'd really love to hear a little bit about you, that will help me understand even if I would be a good fit for you. And so I say like, no, well, and what I do is I have a button on my website. They can book it.
Mm-hmm.
I like them booking it. So, and my intake coordinator does them too. And so then it comes up in my calendar in simple practice. And then I call them at that scheduled time or do a video chat if they want to do that.
Sure.
And I have a script that I use, which I think is very important to start training yourself because you just need to say your rate with no emotion. And that is why you have a script. You say, okay, now we're going to go over rates. And my rate is, and Emma's rate is, or so-and-so's rate is. Do you have any questions? Who would you like to work with, right?
Yep.
That's on to the next step, right? Because other parts will get in the way. We all have, I love internal family systems as a model and first language of like, part of you might feel like, oh, I'm not worth that rate. But then a part of you is like, oh my goodness, like, I really need to make more income, I want to grow. So you have to believe in yourself and just have it written down for yourself, what you're going to say till you've memorized it. And I also have a script for how you explain your out of network. You have to position it as something that's of value versus like, they're going to have to pay privately if they have a high well, anyway, like, do you want their child seeing the 70-year-old man that like is going to sit on the chair? Like, nothing against them, but the connection. They're picking a connection. They're not picking who their insurance company wants them to see because no one has called them back. They've already called people. Like, you're the one on the phone with this client.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Make it into a conversion if you can. And, of course, there are times when they don't. And I call them back or send them a text the next day checking in. And I also try to add them to my email, like newsletter. Let them know we do Facebook Live videos. And I have had people call me back 4 or 5 months later being like, all right, we did try the insurance route and we're going to pay you privately now.
Yeah. You talked before in some of our conversations about how you have a really high conversion rate on those phone calls. And it sounds like it's because you have a formula that works. Is that script something that you wrote yourself? Just kind of as you learned?
Yeah, I've taken it from all different people. When I very first started, I did 1 month, just like 2 coaching calls with coach, and she was able to offer me some of her scripts. And but I haven't done anything paid since then. I just was like, oh, that was really expensive, and let me figure the rest out. But I do have a supervisor I see for clinical support, and so, but I do find that I would like to, now that I have more time being an owner, be in some support groups and teach and kind of offer the skills.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you have such experience that can, prove the fact that you're effective, like that's really, really compelling. So we've talked a little bit about when you get people on the phone, how you need to approach that phone call. How do you get people to you? Like, talk about the marketing, in this group, we talk about the 3 stages of marketing. So unaware, aware, and sure. So that consultation is more when someone becomes aware of you and just needs kind of to cross that finish line. But how are you getting people aware of your practice? What types of marketing strategies have worked for you?
That is an awesome question. So I would say in terms of if they're completely unaware, that is the hardest thing. But I track referrals in 3 different places. It's taken me time, but and now we send postcards after. I used to do thank you notes, and it would be really good, but it's too much work now being in a group. Yeah, hands like I'm writing like 12.
You got a lot of them. Yeah, sure.
So we just do postcards. I have my VA do that, my virtual assistant. So Google, I do my own SEO. So search engine optimization, write a blog post once a week, I put Niantic, Connecticut, child therapy, and then I write like play therapy, help children who've been through trauma, and blah, blah, blah for like 1,000 words.
Yep.
And then I call, then I got on that phone consult. I'm like, how'd you hear about us? They're like, oh, I Googled child therapy and play therapy for trauma. I'm like, oh, that's our specialty,
You landed in the right spot. Yeah. Friends, Katie you are the example of someone willing to learn and absorb and put it into action. And that's what we hope this group is. Like, that's what I hope the resources you find on the web are. I don't think that every I think more therapists can be like you, Katie, not spending thousands of dollars. Yes, you made some investments up front, but not having to spend thousands of dollars to be successful. Like, the information's out there, be willing to test and try and keep track of what works. And here you are with this system that is basically built by yourself. You didn't work on some crazy expert, for 5 years or anything. And here you are, fully booked.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's fun. It's like, it's crazy to like really kind of look back, like to, say like, wow, I really do feel like I can support people where I once was, like, being able to, now it's like teaching my clinicians like what they need to do. And I'm like, oh, it's so hard to teach. But it's, it's something where people doubt themselves so much. And I think too, when you like, I have one clinician, she works at an agency and she works for me. So she has one leg and like creative private practice, one leg W-2 40-hour, but really 60-hour a week job. So I'm really trying to work with her to let that agency go, but there's like so much guilt. But it's something where I think that, people are told you can't do this, or, this is too hard, or you have to pay someone $5,000 for a website. And it's like, no, like I've literally watched so many YouTube videos and it has, I don't recommend it, but you can do it. If you have determination, if you say, I want this, because I quit my job, I didn't have an income. So I was like, this is my survival. I had fire. I was doing yoga every day. I was like, this is my clear job. And I am at a point where I'm like, wow, like I'm so happy. Like I could do this for the rest of my life. And like, I could see it evolving. Like, maybe I'll take like a prenatal yoga training and like do some like, cause I do therapy too. So I might do like prenatal yoga therapy or something like
that. Sure.
But
the beauty is you can start to get creative. You know the system that works. And so were actually telling me about how you sort of pivoted niches a little bit towards couples. Can you talk about sort of that process and what that has been like?
Yes. So it's a mix. So I do have paper marketing. I can show you. Let me see if I have one down here. So I do these. Okay. So we have a mailed envelope, right? Marketing with a cute little return address label, right? So it's all about being different. And I mail these to our main referral sources.
Okay.
And I'll show you a little
Are those mostly physicians, or who are your main referral sources?
Physicians I've networked with who know me. Oh, it's so hard to get in, but if you work it, you'll get in.
Yeah.
And this is just me making it. I finally got all our brand colors because of your Facebook group, but so kind of like so.
Yeah.
We have, it's like a little trifold.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then we have a business cards with the same colors and a list of our specialties.
Nice.
So it's something that I find to be, yes, people will say, oh, you don't have to do print. Most of it goes through Google, but you're nurturing your referral sources every time they get something from you. And you don't know who's going to open that. It might be the doctor. It might be the manager. I've gone in and dropped off stuff. I try to do it every like 2 months. And like, I pick a Wednesday, do like 4 hours and like go to this area of town and then do that. Sometimes it's a lot though, if you're driving in like a hot car. So it's like, but you drop off things. And I can also show you some marketing bundles I'm about to make if you want.
That would be really cool. Maybe you could share those. Yeah. Well, what do they consist of?
They have a book by Sarah Prout. It's called like Trust the Universe or something. Or like, it's like a purple cover. I've put Play-Doh. I put mindfulness meditation things. I put all of our brochures. Watercolors. I'm like, this is a big bundle for them, but it's something that is so important to nurture them. So go there physically, try. I've done trainings for all of the offices. So that's how I got in. In February 2018, I did a talk on, there's a place called Eastline Pediatrics, and they're also, okay, so this is the key with doctor's offices. The larger, we have a hospital that has bought out many of the small private physician practices, and they are much harder to get into. So the key is to find small practices that care about the local vibe and that work with the same population you work with. So for us, a lot is child therapy. It's one of our specialties. And using art, music, yoga. And I went in and talked to them about that. And then the next year I called back and I had to call like 4 times. They were like, oh, we're so busy. I'm like, Ari, is Katie, you know me, I came in last year. Like I had to talk with Joy and, all these people at the front desk. And like, I was like, hey, so I got in again the next year, and I did a talk on LGBTQIA plus
Mm-hmm.
adolescent and how to be an advocate for teens and what families go through. And I brought like Middle Eastern food and like falafels and stuff. I was like, we'll bring the food. So going in, and I did an LGBTQ 101 at another doctor's office, and that's a big population they needed training on that they didn't have. So
Yeah.
you can go in and just offer that support and educate
Definitely.
on what you do.
Yeah, this totally gets to what we talk about a lot in this group when it comes to networking. You've said it multiple times. It's about being memorable, right? And it's about being valuable. And that's exactly what you've done. Like by being memorable, I love the word nurture. Nurture is a really just important word in marketing in general. It's nurturing the relationships that you currently have. You can't just assume that you make contact once and it's going to, stick. You have to remind them of you. And like you were saying, the reason you got in the door is because you offered something valuable to them with nothing. You didn't expect anything in return. That's the foundation of a good relationship. And then you get the joy and the privilege and the pleasure of nurturing that relationship and of staying in touch with them and them knowing who you are.
It's so cool. And I honestly want to share too. I was very intimidated at first calling doctors. I was like, doctors, what are they going to like? And then I remember my first phone call. I was like, I used to drink a lot of coffee. I don't anymore. I really don't drink much caffeine now. And I feel much more grounded. But my first call, I was so nervous. I was like 2 months into private practice and it was like so bad. And I was like, this doctor's never going to refer people. And she said like one in the past 2.5 years, but you grow each time. So you just have to, there are plenty of fish in the sea. There's always another referral source, and I've also, it's so tough when clinicians leave. I had a real tough time September 2019. I had 3 people leave within a 3-week period. So you have to think rescheduling 35 clients of income gone, and 35 clients unhappy, writing bad reviews, calling their.
How did you combat that?
Oh, so bad. But it was good. I personally called all the clients and let them know what was going on and said, we're happy to help in whatever way we can, whether getting another therapist here or, and none of them except for one transferred to one of my current therapists. So it's hard when abrupt things like that happen, but just know that if you're the owner, like your energy will fuel the entire practice. And if people bounce, like you weren't meant to work with them anyway, So throw into a group like that can be a way also to tier your finances, like you being the highest, then like maybe you have someone a little less than you. So then you can send maybe someone who wants to use their insurance. You have to pay, like, for instance, one of our clients, if they were going to use insurance, if we took insurance, we'd get $74 for 1 hour.
Wow.
You can't run a practice on that. You can't even pay a clinician. So that's why they're paying $135 to us for this clinician. So to give you perspective. So yeah, I can pay her. I can run the practice. I have an emergency fund for my business. So, but yeah, you can figure it out.
How do you approach kind of fee setting and sliding scale and things like that? You mentioned tiering it out. You've talked to me about profit first. How have you kind of made sure that you can continue, and kind of give that buffer, especially in those situations like back in September? How do you approach that whole system?
Yeah, in September, well, I sought self-care. I took a hibernation. And I feel like too, it's something where that's the group owner journey of like, this is, people will come and go, but you'll always have, whether you want clients or whether you want to do other things, you'll always have that, and so I W-2 myself, so I'm an S corp. I'm an LLC filing as an S corp. So what it means is that you have a flow through entity with your business. So you have the business, and then you have Katie Ziskind getting paid by her business. And so I W-2 myself, and I have 1099 contractors because they are all part-time. And I had employees before, and I realized I was not equipped for that, and they were all part-time, and what was I doing? So I really rethought and looked at all the things legally and said, yes, I can go this route.
Yeah.
And I restructured a lot of how I do things. So they're a little bit more independent in that aspect. And so it's actually worked a lot better for me, kind of having that distance and just, being able to give them direction briefly.
Definitely. Cool. This has been so awesome. I would love to know from you, especially because you have bootstrapped it and DIY'd your way here, which I just love to see and I know is not just inspirational for me, but everyone watching. What have been your favorite resources your favorite free or paid resources that you've used for marketing? Where did you learn SEO? Is there anything that you sort of revisit regularly for tips and tricks or anything like that?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I could share the podcast I listened to when I first
Absolutely.
started. Okay, do you have a podcast? But might as well. Or do you do a podcast, Anna? I don't know.
I don't do a podcast, but I should.
I feel like you could put all this on a podcast.
I could. I've thought about it, but we're sticking with this for now.
So when I first started, I Googled how to start a private practice, and Joe Sanok, he is with Practice of the Practice.
Yeah.
He was talking on a lot about, what I wanted to do and be. And so I ended up working with Allison Pigeon for a month. And so that was really helpful. And she actually talked with me about like getting on that one insurance panel to have some income. And that was actually very good because I started developing my confidence because of the amount of clients I had at that point. I had about 15 private pay clients a week at that point. And she was like, what do you want? And I was like, I really want to have income, to like buy stuff and, and buy a house and kind of advance and things. And so she was like, well, I mean, you could do it short term. So I actually just put in for getting off the panel October 1st. So I've been in it for, 2-3 years, ish years. So it's like, I'm very happy. And now Kim, who's on my team, takes it. So I'm like, good, we can still work with those referral sources because doctors will refer insurance, insurance, but like they kind of like, you take one insurance. So I'm like, we take the insurance for a while, But then we can be out of network with everyone else because they've high deductibles. Like, why would I choose to be paid less when like they were going to have to pay anyway?
Right. Absolutely.
So, that was helpful. And then selling the couch with Melvin. He has some good tips. He's kind of a quieter, one, but I'm in his group too. And then, let's see. Oh, there's the private practice startup. And then there's one with Allison.
Abundance party.
Yeah.
Abundance practice.
Yeah, so I have to switch them all out. Do the group practice owner exchange with Maureen. And I was listening to that because I was like, have group practice stuff. I'm like, I need some group practice support, So Absolutely. I listen, but I really don't make purchases. So that's something that I always really look at my numbers because I think a lot of people overspend and buy stuff. Like I had a friend, she was like, I bought this $5,000 machine. I was like, you what? Like, like you inside of you, right? Like, or a $5,000 training, right? Like, are you going to get a return on investment? Like, I saw a post the other day, and this is like a little fun pet peeve, but like in an insurance group, will insurance is pay more if I take a $4,000 EMDR training, which is like movement, desensitization, in terms of trauma, which is very similar to yoga therapy in terms of the bilateral stimulation. And everyone was like, no, you'll still get like $80. And she's like, okay. So it's like just for myself to like better help my clients, but I'm not going to be reimbursed more. Like, so that's why your private pay is because you're like, I help trauma. I can help you no longer have a flashback. Like I say like, so you walk on eggshells every day. Like, so you live in fear. Like yoga therapy can help you love and connect with those parts of yourself that feel neglected and feel
absolutely.
So that's what I'm doing on the phone consult of like, this is a little mini taste of a session, but
definitely
5 minutes and then switching out of it. So
yeah, definitely. You say something that's really important to me. And I get feedback sometimes when I talk to therapists that like I offer free strategy sessions where I'll sit down with a therapist for 30 minutes. And I don't usually talk about like working with me for a lot of clients. For a lot of therapists, I don't, because I don't think that I don't think every single therapist needs to work one-on-one with an expert like me or that kind of thing, because there are these resources out there like you. Like that's what I want to see happen. I want to see therapists be successful the best way possible. And if that means working one-on-one so they don't have to think about something, I'm so happy to do that. But if it also means just listening to podcasts like you and watching my marketing trainings and bootstrapping it and making it for like, a low cost course.
I feel though, if you have if there are people that have jobs at agencies, like they would benefit from a weekly session with you to build up. I mean, I think I was in a very situation where I was like, oh, I was like, my dad's parents are like Jewish and they're like very frugal. All these parts, these are like in me, but now I'm at a point 2.5 years in where I'm like, I want to invest. I want a teacher. I want I recently, just as of like 2 weeks ago, paid, and it's going to happen. It's like we're in the process of 3 months of Google ads. I want to fill my other clinicians, and it's something where I don't really want to have to do that much marketing anymore.
Absolutely. Sure.
So
and that's the beauty of this journey is you can start and bootstrap it and DIY it and make small investments and then get to a point where you're ready to really transform the way you do it and, be at a new place. Yeah.
Katie, too, if we have a comment from that Facebook user, and I wonder if they have a niche. Like, I wonder if they have a specialty for they're saying I need a script. I
think Leslie's an anxiety therapist. Leslie, if you're still watching, let me know if that's right. But Leslie's just made some awesome updates to her website and has already started to see some conversions, which is so great. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It is. Oh, it's the best feeling to hear those success stories. Katie, if you were sitting down across from someone like me, in a Zoom meeting or something who is brand new to private pay or wants to launch a practice or wants to pivot away from insurance, what would you say to them?
You totally can do it. And you just have to believe in yourself. Yep. You have to trust the universe. Ooh, and depression. Okay, cool for women. But you have to trust. You have to say in yourself like a mantra, like, I am doing this. Like, I am not going back to an agency. Like there was no, like, I was like, there is not, like, that's not an option. Like, this is going to happen. I also had worked at yoga studios for a lot of grad school and had like private, like, I would do unique things. Like, I went into people's homes and was like, they were like yoga students. And I was like, hey, like, could I do some cooking? And I like did food prep for them and like made some like kale salads. And so I've kind of had this kind of holistic piece. Yeah. And so, I think that, just believing in yourself, saying, I am amazing. I am good enough. I am capable. Like, I am lovable, like whatever it is that you want. And at getting education. And, if you said, hey, I want to be a marriage and family therapist, like, go to that program, apply to grad school. Like, I paid privately for licensure. Like I wanted it so bad. Like, I have people that are getting free supervision. I'm just like, whatever, cool. Like, I wanted it so
do whatever it takes.
Yeah. So, and like now I'm like, wow, there's so many people that have private pay practices that have a beautiful life and like really just have this ease. Like, it's like you're not trying to prove anything to anyone. Like, but you will learn things along the way. And I think it is something to always have good self-care. For me, it's like later tonight, I'm teaching yoga virtually. So like, I enjoy doing that. And like, I love having my
time for yourself.
Yes. Time for yourself to reflect and say, what serves me? What really brings me to a joyful, loving place in my heart when I go to work or,
Looks like we have a question here and we talked about this a little bit, but talk about fee setting. We have someone here, they're 95. They currently charge 95. They want to go to 165. Okay. If you just kind of had to give a brief summary of what you feel like the approach there would be.
Oh, this is so fun. So depression for women and teens. From 95 wanting to.
This is actually someone else, so I don't know what their niche is. Feel free to comment there. But currently charging 120 or 95, want to go to 165.
So I would first get really clear on what's being offered. So are they 60-minute sessions? Are they 45-minute sessions? What's the walkthrough? What age? So for kids, we do a parent-only intake. So I have to explain that. And then we work with the child individually. If they're an adult, like, it's different. If they're a couple, like, how's your intake process for that? Do you have a higher rate for couples? So, a big thing is keep your clients at 95. That's fine if that's your comfort zone, if that's your happy place. Valuing yourself. That's probably around what you might get from an insurance company. So it's great because you're accepting your money right from your clients. And not having to go through that middle party. The other thing is going to 165 is going to be a big jump. So I would not raise your current rate for your current clients. I would just let them ride out unless they've been with you for a year. You do rate increase once a year, and you could go from 95 to 120, 125, right? That would probably be reasonable. But I would start new clients at a higher rate. And to me, 95 to 165 is pretty high. So like I would check in, maybe you've been at 95 a long time, but a lot of times it's hard for people. Their self-worth pops up, right? So they're on the call. They like, oh yeah, this client's going to be great for me. You're like 10, 15 minutes in. And then they're like, okay, so what's your rate? And you're like, oh, I don't take insurance. And then they're like, okay, I'll just call someone else. So like you have to know how to move the call forward. So they say, oh, I'm 165. And they're like, oh, that's a lot. And you want to go right into, I'm an out-of-network provider. I provide you with a super bill. We'll go right to your email. Did you know that you'll have to pay privately no matter who you see? Like you're educating them on like insurance. Like, do you have an HSA card? Do you have an FSA account? Like, is there money? Like, and I require payment the day they book. So like if we're on the intake call, I let them know like I will need a card in order to schedule your intake, and I have to prepay just like a concert ticket or an airplane ticket because I need that commitment. And they need
absolutely.
Oh, LGBTQ IA plus. That's so fun.
That is one of Katie's sweet spots too. Yeah. That's awesome, Katie. This is so helpful. I don't really see any other main questions to talk about, but like I said, friends, feel free to drop questions into the comments. Katie is super active in this group and gives awesome feedback. So we'll, be hanging out this weekend and keep an eye on things. Katie, thank you so much for being here. What's the best way for people to connect with you if they have more questions or want to chat more, if you have time in your busy schedule to do that?
It's so fun. So yeah, you could send me an email. I'll spell it out for you because I have kind of a long name. Maybe we'll put it in the comments or something.
Your name is displaying on the video.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Katie, Katie, Ziskind, Ziskind. So it looks like Z is kind.
Yeah.
MFT. So for marriage family therapist at gmail.com. So Katie Ziskind, MFT at gmail.com.
Awesome. This has been so great, Katie. Thanks for being here. I can't wait to maybe have you back in the group and talk about another topic, but I have gotten a whole ton out of this, and I'm sure that everyone that has joined us has too. So thanks again for being here, friends. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. We'll be back next week with next week's marketing training.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Anna.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful to have been here today.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.